Hey guys, and welcome to yet another live session with me, Kshitij, on Shoot Guru. And today's live is something very special because we are going to Bollywood today and we have a very special guest tonight. I know that you guys know about him and you guys have been waiting for him. It is none other than Mr. Dabu Ratnani, the legend, celebrity photographer, advertisement photographer, and he is an amazing artist. And we have been following him for all these years. I have been following him for so many years. When I started my career, I met him. So he has done celebrity shoots, he's done editorials, he's done advertisements. He's shot with almost every celebrity in the industry, and there are some celebrities that actually deny other photographers and only want to do photography with him and get pictures clicked by him. He is an amazing artist. His concepts are well known all around the world. People know him around the world for his creativity and his creative shots, and we all do follow him for those kind of things, and we all love the calendar. The legendary calendar that the Ratnani does is what we keep waiting for, and we always hope that that is the thing. The images that come out for that have been amazing for us. And today we are going to get into conversation with him. He's coming from the studio page today. It's called the Ratnani Studio. And let's see if he's here and get him on board. Hi, sir. How are you today?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Finally, we have you for a live session.
Yes, the audio and everything's fine?
Ekdam perfect, sir. Brilliant.
Okay, great.
And sir, welcome to Shoot Guru for this live session, and thank you so much for giving your time in this for this. And there are so many people who have been asking us so many questions about you, and they want to know so much about you. So we thought, let's get in touch with you and get you on board.
Awesome. I'm happy to be here. Very happy. Thank you.
So how are you doing? Otherwise, how's the lockdown been for you?
It's been okay. Actually, I've been shooting 25 years. I've been into digital photography since I think 2004. So I have so many shoots which I was, just backing up and dumping onto different hard drives. So I've been just last 2 months, I've been just sorting out the data, sitting at home and, just trying to organize all the kind of shoots in one space in my server, in my hard drives, and making a copy so I can keep one set of shoots at home and then keep the same copy in the studio as well. So I've been busy just doing that and then posting out some of the archival pictures that I've reprocessed some of the shoots that I had shot long ago. And like softwares have come a long way since 2004. So the same images, when I'm reprocessing and re-editing, it looks completely different and new. So I'm enjoying that actually.
Yeah, I've been looking at these images on the studio page, and some of them I was amazed to see that okay, they're coming back with a different feel to them, and it was really nice.
Thank
So,
you.
sir, there's always been a question: what got you into photography, and how did your journey actually start?
Sorry, am I audible?
You're back. You're back, sir. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
okay,
back, sir.
okay. So it's a long, it happened way back. I think it started when I was in school, and I was always the gadget guy, to be honest. I was like more into gizmos and more into, if my dad used to get anything new in technology, anything new in tech, I used to be the first one to get into it. Kuch kharab ho gaya, to take a screwdriver and start opening it up. So initially, when I got into, cameras and I got into I found one viewfinder camera in my dad's cupboard, and I started using it. And so at that point, I really didn't know that this is something that I'm going to do for a living, and got into it in terms of experimenting with it. Took it to my school picnics and stuff like that. And before I knew it, I was buying rolls, processing film, going into labs and doing printing. I mean, I was enjoying the whole journey of photography. And then finally, in the like around my 11th and 12th grade, when I was doing, my junior college, I was kind of doing audio visuals for my college fashion shows, intercollegiate fashion shows, and helping out with them. And I got great appreciation for those pictures. And by then, I had bought my first SLR camera, and I actually that also was bought out of a loan which I had taken. We were from a middle class family, and my parents, we used to have a retail Bombay dyeing shop, but it was not. It was something very different for my parents to kind of fathom that, okay, he's going to be a photographer. And those days, like, in the 80s and 90s, photography wasn't such a cool profession. I mean, it was your first impression when you say photographer used to be a birthday photographer or a wedding photographer. Not that those are bad options, but it was never a glamour kind of a job. So then from the 12th grade, I started, just before my exams, I went and met Sumit Chopra, who's my ex-boss, who I worked 4 years with. And with him, when I started with him, I kind of planned for 3 years, but because it went off so well and I was learning so much, I stayed with him for 4 years. And during that whole 4 years, I think I also practicing a lot on the weekends and kind of trying what I'm learning on the job helped me a lot to kind of uh, get to where I am today, because I feel that it's not about just going for shoots, it's about practicing what you're learning as well. That's very, very important. So similarly, when I used to read photography books, I used to keep my camera next to me. So today, when I'm reading, those days we didn't have the internet, so I used to read books, and I used to kind of, what I'm learning in the book and what I was reading in the book, I was holding my camera and doing those settings and trying out all that stuff. Yeah. So, and then, one thing led to the other. First film was Atish, where I was, I just went just for the experience of it. Sanjay Gupta, who's the director, was a friend of mine. And we went for 40 days to Mauritius. I shot Sanjay Dutt, I shot Charisma, Ravina, and that's where the journey began. And, one thing led to the other. Then 4 years, I worked with Sumit, and then I kind of started on my own as well.
And so there's so many genres that are available in today's day and time. There's so many types of photography.
Right.
How hard was it for you, or how easy was it for you to kind of select the genre that you are in? And you do multiple things. You just don't do only one celebrity style, but you do advertisements, you do other things also. So
Correct.
selecting that or that niche, how what was the process there?
Uh, so when I was with Sumit, Sumit was an advertising photographer, and he didn't do much of Bollywood when I joined him. And and in those days, to be very honest, when you were shooting Bollywood and you're shooting film, stuff for movies, you were looked down upon. It was more like a filmy photographer. It was like not in a good way. But I didn't honestly look down upon it, and I kind of those 4 years that I worked with Sumit, we did a lot of fashion shoots, and in fact, I convinced him to kind of. Sorry, I'm audible.
No, you're there,
Yeah.
you're there.
Okay. So while
Yes,
I
yes,
was
yes.
while I was with him for 4 years, I actually convinced him to start doing Bollywood. And he said, "What's wrong with you? Why should I do filmy work?" So I said, Sumit, whatever it is, what I thought at that point was, today people read magazines. In those days, magazines, your Stardust and your Film Fresh and Blitz, they are like a Bible. So
That's okay. That's okay.
so I kind of convinced Sumit to get into film photography, and I said, why? He said, why? I said, it'll make you famous. So he was like, for a fashion photographer in those days, where fashion was the coolest thing to do, he couldn't understand what I was saying here. So, but finally I convinced him, and he actually got into film photography. And gradually, I met a few actors, and I met a lot of makeup people, a lot of hairdressers, and I started enjoying it. Then like I said, I did Atish for my first film, as my, my film being my first assignment. It kind of got me into loving film photography. I didn't look down upon it. I kind of said that, okay, if he's shooting the models in a fashion way, why can't I shoot the actors in that kind of a genre? I can make them look cool, I can make them look fashionable. And sooner, and then I got into film photography, and then later, whole bandwagon of all the ad photographers got into film photography, and before you knew it, actors were endorsing ad campaigns. That time it was unheard of. That
Yeah.
actors were doing ad brand campaigns, top designers were giving clothes to Bollywood people to wear. Then the whole thing changed. So I've been a part of kind of a lot of the journey in these 25 years, right from analog, from film photography to kind of digital, from the look of film photography changing to what it is today. My son Shivan is here to say hi.
Hey,
Hi.
hey, it's one of you.
He comes and says a hi in all my lives.
No, that's amazing. I mean, and we look at your family. It is so nice to see all of you in so many pictures, and it's such a beautiful
Thank you.
family that you have. And everybody here also is complimenting everybody at home.
Thank you so much.
Sir, coming back to okay, there was a question, and it's an amazing insight that you've given to us, moving from analog to digital, and the whole journey of switching, which is now seen as the dream job. Film photography was once we didn't know that it was once considered like it was looked down on.
Yeah.
So, what do you feel is the education needed to be a photographer, a fashion photographer, a film photographer? What should people be concentrating on?
When I started, there was no great photography schools in India at that point. So uh, I couldn't afford to go abroad. Like I said, we couldn't afford to kind of go to, like, Sumit is ex Brooks Institute, which is in Santa Barbara, California. So I couldn't go there. And so I said, for me, the best option was to assist a photographer. So today also, I mean, there are many times when I'm doing a live workshop, uh, sometimes somebody will ask me such a technical question. Even at today, I may not able to answer. And I'm very honest about it because I'm honestly not studied photography from a photography school. I worked with him for 4 years, and I feel that it taught me a great deal on the job. But saying that, also, I feel that it's very important to be inquisitive, to be curious, to kind of give it your 500% when you're assisting. Because today in a school it is taught to you. In a photography school, it is your program. You have an exam. You're going to pass. I mean, for me, it was not like that. For me, it was my career move that I was looking at. And it was I I realized and I felt that at 15, 16, when my friends were getting into FY BCom, I was assisting Sumit for 3 years, and I was doing correspondence with my with my BCom. So it was a big decision for me, and I had to prove to my parents in 3 years, those 3 years which were college years. I had to prove to my parents that this is something that I want to do. So for me, those 3 years which I was planning, and which became 4 years with Sumit, was a lot about proving myself. So I feel that if you have that josh, that passion, that fire, only then you can sustain for 25 years in the industry. I strongly believe that. Today, by doing one great assignment, by doing one great shoot, you're not going to become a legendary photographer, or in any profession for that matter. I mean, whether it's a DOP, whether it is a stylist, whether it's a fashion designer, whether it is whatever it is, you have to keep recreating, you have to keep evolving. Only then you will kind of be there at the top where you can sustain yourself, in any industry for that matter. So I feel that's what keeps me really buzzing, and that's what keeps me fired up. I feel that trying to reinvent and re-evolve and keep pushing myself to the next level is something that I really, really focus on. So coming back to the education, I feel that it's great because today India has great photography schools. It's great if you do a course, but learning on the job is something I would recommend even post doing a photography course. So I feel that learning on the job taught me a lot more about life, taught me a lot about money, taught me a lot about production, meeting people. And Sumit, honestly, I mean, Sumit and me were poles apart, but we are best friends. Even now, we are great friends because I was very honest to him. Nobody could have told Sumit that, Sumit, you're not famous. You need to do film photography. So I mean, people couldn't imagine me saying that to him. And Sumit, on the other hand, took it very well, and we got along really well, and he appreciated my honesty rather than just licking him up and saying, okay, this is great, this is great, this is great. I was very honest with him, which he appreciates, and that's why we are still great friends.
Amazing. So I totally agree. Practical experience is something that is very much required alongside education as well. So
Right.
you got into film, you got into stars. So how has your experience been with working with the stars? How difficult has it been to get more stars to work with you, or was it an easy journey? So your journey with the stars, how has that been over the years? And we have seen some amazing concepts that you've developed. So how was it hard to convince them to do that? Like Hrithik Roshan falling into the pool, to somebody wearing something very wacky and standing, and so that journey, how was
So
that?
I see when we conceptualize a shoot, you have to imagine the person who's going to do it first of all. So today when there's a concept which is something which you're convinced about, and you tell the actor that I see you doing this, there's a 70-80% chance that he'll say, okay, let's do it, because even he is looking for something different, something new to do that he's not done before for a photo shoot. So. When it's the routine stuff, that's when it's difficult. Like today when you're shooting an ad campaign for a product where the actor has to just hold the product and pose and point at it, that's what they don't enjoy. But when it's a campaign which is, like what comes to my mind, there was one shoe campaign that I did with Saif, and the art director, the creative director actually went and did that action. So Saif got really charged up, and said, let's do it, let's do it. So I'm saying that kind of, even if it's a campaign which, or it's a conceptual shoot, as long as the actor gets excited about it, they are happy to do it. And but saying that, Kshitij, is also that it is a given that you are technically sound first of all. You cannot be experimenting with a concept where you're not sure of your lighting or your camera or your focus or the basics, or you're going to take time to light up. All your work that you need to practice and experiment, you have to do 2 hours, 3 hours before the actor comes on your set. So when he's there, you're maximizing the time that he's spending with you. Many times, I'm not going to take names, but actors have told me that this guy is this guy is this. He keeps me waiting for 2 hours. He's doing his experimental. I'm very simple in terms of in my head I know, okay, that I'm going to probably use these 2-3 lights today, and I will set up 6-7 and keep by the side. That's fine. But I will not try to act like I'm working very hard. What I'm trying to say is that I will not try to say, hey, main ye lagata hu, main ye light lagata hu. I won't do that show sharp. For me, what the actors, any actor or any model who you speak to, they say Dabu's really fast. He's really quick, which is what quick, because I've already preconceived what I'm going to do. I've already thought that, okay, I'm going to try this, or I've done my experimenting before the actors come on set. So that time he is there, we're just focusing on clicking. We're not focusing on other things. So my strong advice to all the newcomers and everything, today, everything is digital. You're literally seeing what you're doing, so it's become much more simpler than what it used to be back in the day when we were shooting film photography. So and you can't waste time of people. You must appreciate that today, when Shah Rukh is coming for your shoot, he has 5,000 other things waiting for him to go to. So when he is going to be there for that 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or 10 minutes, or 15 minutes, whatever you have with him, you have to make the max use of that time.
Yep.
So that if that means going one day before and doing a pre-light, going 3 hours earlier for the shoot and doing experimenting, do it. But don't ruin the mood of the shoot. That 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever you have a blast. It should be fun. It should be, when I'm shooting, my music is blasting. It's like a party. It's like, it doesn't feel like a shoot. Anybody who shot with me will, vouch for that. It doesn't feel like a shoot. It's more like it's the photographer's responsibility is to create a great ambience, to create the lighting, to create the mood. look after the production, look after, the food should be superb. That's the way I work. Yeah. I mean, that's the way. I mean, today, really, my shoots are, anybody who's come for my shoots will vouch for that day. It doesn't feel like a shoot. It feels like they've come for a party, literally, including the food that comes with it.
Amazing, amazing. That's such good advice. I so believe, and very few people actually concentrate on the shoot itself and the prep before the shoot.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
we've seen so many concepts coming from you, and every concept definitely looks different from the other. They're very new. So, what is your thought process that goes in your mind when you're developing it, and what is the process that you follow when you're developing such concepts, and some tips you would want to give to newcomers?
So the idea is that, first of all, like I said, you have to keep, whenever I have a new idea, new concept, new thought, I write it down. I, you know, usually whenever I'm conceptualizing for my calendar as well, I'm usually up at 4:35 in the morning, and I'm kind of, those 2-3 hours in the morning before the whole world wakes up. I feel that before your phone starts ringing, you have that kind of space where, you can do what you want, think what you want. You can kind of write your concepts, write your ideas, and think which actor can do what, without getting disturbed. And so that's one way of approaching it. And then during the course of the year, whenever I see like an interesting prop, like or a interesting location, I'll take a picture of it and write it in a particular space where I'm kind of say, okay, then the year comes when I have a concept idea, or when I have an open hand to kind of shoot whatever I want, then I'll say, should we try this or should we try that? Because I had that thought already. So when I'm doing my calendar specifically, because that's where really, there's no creative director, or there's no agency, or there's no client. You're pretty much doing everything for yourself. So that's where you have your complete creative freedom. So that's where my experimental playground kind of a thing. And I urge every photographer or anybody who's watching, from different professions as well, that you must do certain amount of work just for your creative satisfaction. You can't, the whole year we do commercial work. It's great. I have nothing against commercial work. I have nothing. I'm a very practical person. But I feel that one job, which is for me is my calendar, is something at the year, and when the year is ending, I'm something that I'm looking forward to kind of, charge myself up for the coming year. So I feel there should be some. So whether you want to do exhibitions, whether you want to do, anything, you want to do a digital property, anything, but there should be something that you must kind of focus on. Let all your creative energy into that and create something for your personal growth, I feel.
Amazing. And sir, coming to the calendar itself, so how did the calendar actually come into existence? What was the idea behind doing such a calendar? Because before that, no such thing really existed where you would have a concept shoot, and that concept shoot would land in everybody's house for that matter. So,
Right.
what was the idea behind it, and how did you actually come up with that?
It was Y2K. Everybody was talking about the new millennium, the year 2000s coming up. From the 90s, some 19s, we were going into the 2000s. So it was something that, the whole world was talking about. So I said, what better way to start the millennium than dates, So I kind of, in the first calendar, which was published in December 1999 for my 2000 calendar, I pulled out 12 of my pictures that I had shot over from 94 to 99, and picked 12 pictures. And a friend of mine, Rahul, who owned an agency called By Design, designed the calendar for me. And it was just a thought where I said, let's, and I was surprised that no photographer has ever done this before in terms of the film industry. There were always brands, and in the fashion business there were calendars, but nothing in the film business. So I said it'll be a great way to kind of start the year, and also, I have access to these actors, and so then also the value of that calendar, having top 12 celebrities at that time in one calendar, was immense, because nobody could even afford to create a calendar like that, and I had the access to it. So I said, I just pulled out those and printed 1,000 copies, and gave it out to people in the in the media, in the magazines who I was working with, ad agencies who I was working with, in the film industry, and everybody loved it. It was like something that they had not seen before. And although now I look back at the 2000 calendar, I say it was so basic, but it was very well appreciated. And after that, it became like, then it was, since it was only women in that calendar, then the men complained that, why are we not a part of your calendar? So then 2001, which was in the year 2000, I started shooting for my 2001 calendar, and there I took 12 boys and 12 girls, and that's when the journey started. The kind of reactions I got was amazing. The work started coming in, and it became a property which is still there. And the best part about it is that I didn't commercialize it in any way. I funded
Yeah.
it myself. I produced it myself. I printed it myself. I did the calendar launches myself. I never took any sponsor for anything.
So, one question: with the new age of cameras coming in and photography, like equipment becoming cheaper, there are more photographers who are just buying the camera and they want to try their hands on maybe fashion, street photography. Street photography is a very big fad. What would you recommend to these new kids who are coming, just picking up their camera and starting clicking pictures, and they I mean, I don't want to be rude, but at times there are some who don't have the basic education of photography, but they say that they're big photographers. They feel like big photographers. So, what is
Right.
your advice to such people who are just starting off and just buying these cameras and equipment and getting in the industry?
So, every few years we see this influx of photographers, and where I've seen it since a long, long time. But I feel that only the people who are consistent have kind of sustained, and kind of who get work and who can make a profession out of it. So uh, it's good to try. It's good to try, but you can't claim to be a professional until you really are a professional. And I feel that it's going to happen. I mean, any profession that people find glamorous, or find people are making money, will people will want to get into it. But not everybody kind of makes it, and not everybody kind of sustains and evolves through the journey. So in these 25 years, I've seen these graphs of people coming and going, in the industry. And I'm not trying to be rude or trying to be arrogant in any way. It just so happens. But when people are claiming to be photographers, it should be, you must do it with all the power, all the passion, and not do it for the wrong reasons. You shouldn't do it because you want to be famous. It shouldn't be because you want to meet women. It shouldn't be for any of the wrong reasons that you want to do photography. It should be for the pure love of the craft, of the art that you want to create from your photography. So there will be people, and a lot of people misuse it also. So there's not much we can do about it. Only it will phase out. It will phase out the people who are not serious about it. And I feel that if you're doing it, do it with everything that you have. And because it's not a business, it's an art which has a business module to it. So it will obviously show in your work. And saying that, I would say choose your genre. Today, if you feel you're better with products, you're better with interiors, you're better with food, whatever your genre, you feel your great satisfaction in, you should focus more on that. So I mean, I feel that is something. I mean, I chose to shoot people. In people, I've shot lifestyle campaigns, I've shot fashion campaigns, I've shot actors, I've shot celebrities. Sports celebrities. I've shot all kinds of. But if you put me like a year ago, 6 months ago, I shot a tire factory as well for 4 days. So you should have your technical knowledge so strong that in any situation. So today, if you have to even shoot a fashion campaign in a tire factory, you should be able to handle that basically.
Nice. So, if we talk about technical knowledge and we talk about aesthetics,
Right.
technical knowledge I can get from YouTube, I can join a course, I can get ebooks and everything. How does one attain the aesthetics? Because the ideas, like the kind of ideas that you come up with, are so unique.
Right.
So, how do I develop that kind of a skill? Is what a lot of people want to know.
So see, like if you go to a photography school, they can teach you the technique, but they cannot teach you how to think. You know,
Yeah.
aesthetics is something, it may be relative, what I'm saying, it may not be accurate. Like I said, we are still learning in our life. So today I may say something, but I don't want people to say that, 6 months later that you had said that time. I keep changing, everybody keeps changing. So at this point I feel aesthetics is something, uh, a lot of your personal taste depends on your aesthetics. So today, if I'm dressing a particular way, and I would see a lot of my pictures reflect that. If it's my taste, so today if I say Mr. Bachchan is going to wear a gray suit, somebody may say, why gray suit? And it's fine. I mean, everybody's own uh, point of view, and the way today, if I give the same model and the same stylist and the same team to everybody, each one will style those pictures differently. Each photographer will think differently. So, 2018, I shot Mr. Bachchan again in a purple suit, and with a bicycle, with a racing bicycle. So there were some amazing reactions to it, and then there were some people who said that, why, what is he wearing, why a purple suit? But for me it looked great, so it's not necessary what looks appealing to my eye should be appealing to all the people who are watching this. Each one should bring in their own thought process. So like, I'm talking of the year 1996. I was shooting with Sunil Shetty, and he had come for the shoot with two suitcases. One had all the formal clothes, and one had all the grungy, rugged, torn jeans, and like distressed kind of clothes. And I chose to shoot with the distressed kind of grungy look with him. And while he had a shoot 2 3 days later where that other photographer chose to shoot only formals with him. So it's each one's own vision. So I feel that is something that nothing can be taught, that cannot be taught to you. That's something that you have to acquire a taste for. Also, being in the fashion business, being a fashion photographer, you will have to kind of focus on the trends that are going around. It means keep yourself updated with fashion blogs. Don't just follow photography. When you are getting into this business, it is kind of taken for granted that you're technically sound. So you cannot say that I'm following this photographer and I'm following that photographer and I've done this course and that course, because finally in your pictures all that is not going to show. You have to, that's understood, that you have great equipment, you have technical knowledge. All that is understood when you are a fashion photographer. You have to also have a taste for the clothes, for the background, for the location, because you're the one looking through that lens. It is your vision whether to use a 24 millimeter or to use a 200 millimeter is your choice. At the same location, you may use a 24 mm, I may use a 300 mm. I mean, how does it matter?
Yeah.
So or one shot you may do with the 16 mm, and the second lens you may use is a 300 mm. So I feel that that's something that is a very personal choice. Aesthetics is something which you need to develop, and it keeps changing with time to time. So today, it's reflected in my work. In 2010, when I did a calendar, I did a whole calendar which was black and white because it was my state of mind. But the following years, I've never done a black and white calendar. It's always mixed between color and black and white. So it's a lot to do with how you're feeling, how you're dressing. If you're wearing a lot of blacks and whites, you'll tend to choose that for your model. I feel that, it's something, it's very relative and something that can keep changing with time to time.
And sir, we can see through the comments also coming in. I think you are an inspiration for a lot of people. Uh, and I
Thank
wanted
you.
to know where do you draw your inspiration from, and how do you actually analyze things happening around you to kind of reflect it into your work?
So, I think I get inspired by, and I'm open to inspiration from everything in life, whether it's a movie scene, whether it's uh, a mix of things, something which I've seen in real life, when something that it could be lyrics from a song, it could be anything, that kind of inspires me. But you have to be open to it. Remember one thing, that your receptors have to be always out there to absorb. So, giving that example, when I go to for my anniversary dinner with my wife to a lovely restaurant, I'm looking at the restaurant first in an angle of that, can I plan a shoot here? You know, so it's just it's in my bloodstream. I can't help it. I'll walk into the place and I'll say, wow, that prop looks amazing. Can I take it to the studio for a shoot? I mean, that's the way I think. Yeah. So I feel that you have to pretty much get inspired by everything in life. It could be a lot to do with real life. I'll give you an example. I was on the way to the studio. My car tire got punctured, and so I went to the tire shop near my house, and I got my tire. While I was sitting over there was a truck which came with the old tires which were used. They were throwing it into that truck, and I said, "Wow, what a visual!" And I recreated that old tires. I went, found the person who buys the old tires. I bought 100 tires from him and recreated a set which was with these old tires. So I mean, I'm saying you can get inspired by anything, but pick up those signals that come to you.
Amazing, so amazing. And we always wanted to know what has been your favorite moment over these years, and what has it been the favorite shoot or something that you always remember, and you feel that okay, either it was a learning curve or it was something that you would remember throughout.
So to be honest, I pretty much remember most of my shoots that I've done. It's freaky, but I've been sitting down in this lockdown and going through some of my old shoots, and I remember, okay, it's very rare that I'll come up with a shoot in my catalog when I say, oh yeah, I done this also, or that this particular shot I've not used. So I pretty much remember, I have a good visual memory of all my shoots, and I think with every shoot there's always been some memory connected. So all are very, very special. I can't really choose one, but saying that, I mean, like the one you mentioned, Ritik falling into the pool, is something which has really stayed with me, because even now when we meet, we talk about that shoot. And whenever I posted it multiple times, and I posted it recently, because when people have seen it when I was at 500 followers, and then I'm posting it when I'm at 1.8 million followers, there is a new audience who's seeing it, so
Yeah.
and the reactions I get to it, I still feel good, I mean, it's still, today somebody comes up to me and says, great shot, it feels good even now. I mean, I'm not just trying to say it, I like the appreciation. I read all the comments that I get on my Instagram. I read most of the messages. I try to, and sometimes with all the negative comments, sometimes you learn something also. I feel that in the past it's happened in my, especially I would say during the phase of doing. Now I look back at those pictures and I feel they were severely over edited. That's why I say I'm re-editing a lot of the pictures that I shot in my early days, because I feel that I didn't have the aesthetics of looking at how the Photoshop was being done. I felt that Priyanka was, eyes were over touched up. I feel that the minimal Photoshop you do, and especially because I'm from the film days where on and not depend so much on post. I feel that has kind of helped me to get to where I am, because I don't depend too much on Photoshop compared to the new photographers, where everything is dependent on post में हो जाएगा, post में हो जाएगा, post में हो जाएगा, ये बाद में Photoshop में
Yeah,
करने
that's true.
So I feel that that's another advice to all the newcomers, that don't be so dependent. So what was I saying? Sorry.
So you were giving advice to people about depending on post
Yeah,
production
yeah.
rather
So
than
I
getting
feel
the shot.
that image retouching is great where it's needed. If you have a concept which is more fantasy based, you have to do everything on post. It's great. It's fine. But I feel that don't, the things that can be corrected or the things that can be done while the shoot is on, we can handle with lighting. Do it there and then, rather than depend on Photoshop and make it look fake later.
Yes, that is so true. And so coming from there itself, if anybody wants to start now, how do they actually approach people for business, and what is the strategy that one should follow right from starting his journey in photography and getting the first maybe job or his first assignment? So, what should be that journey, and how important is a portfolio?
I feel a portfolio will never lose its importance. I feel that I feel that one must always, like I said, you have to create some new work for yourself, keep yourself excited, and you have to reach it out to the people to show them your work. Now, especially now, because this, like you said, everybody calls themselves a photographer. So, and one more piece of advice that I would like to give is that, you know, uh, that work should not only be on your Instagram or your Facebook. It should be also on your website. It should be also so that you can claim that it's your work. I feel that in my days, when the pictures actually got published in a Femina or a film fair or in a magazine, Stardust, that's where people say, "Oh, it is his work." So I'll tell you a incident in the 80s and 90s. There were a lot of photographers who used to go abroad to study and and assist the photographer there itself, and they actually stole the transparencies of the photographer they were assisting.
Wow.
And they came here and met agencies and said, "This is my work," and started getting work from them. So, and then later it was found out that it was not their work, it was the original work of their boss who they were training with. So since then people got quite skeptical and started saying that if it's your work, it should be on your website. If it's your work, it should be printed along with your interview. Only then you people will kind of uh, believe in you that it's your work.
Wow. So that is amazing. And so finally, a message that you would want to give to people and something that you are working, like maybe it's a project that you're working on right now, towards how should people post lockdown, because lockdown has been very tough for a lot of us, how the industry will change, and a message that you would want to give to the people who have survived this lockdown and are heading towards a new world order, as I say.
Things are going to be drastically different according to me, and like I said, I'm no authority for it, but I mean we are all in the same boat, we are all in the same kind of zone right now. It's very, very unsure. According to people who I've spoken to and people who I've kind of discussed this with, photo shoots will become, and all shoots will become a lot much smaller scale. There will be controlled people on your set. Photographers who own studios will be at a slight advantage because models and actors will be comfortable in a space which they are comfortable with lesser people, rather than they go to a big studio where there are hundreds of people. So that's the only change that I'm seeing in terms of scaling. But I think to get work and also start everything to get normal is going to take a while. And but I feel that it's the time. This is the time when you're in the lockdown, when you don't have much work. Kind of work on concepts, work on ideas that you plan to do when you're out there and things are better. So we are all in the same boat. So I mean, I can't really advise people because I'm also with y'all guys. I'm in the same zone right now. So I mean, we have to just hang in there and save as much money as you can. Don't buy too much equipment right now because if you're not shooting more than 15 days a month, it's better to hire equipment. I feel that when you're buying expensive cameras worth lakhs of rupees, it's kind of difficult to justify it. Uh, so I feel that it's important to think logically. I mean, I love equipment. I'm a gizmo guy, like I said. I want to buy everything that's coming out there, but I'm also holding back.
Amazing, sir. Thank you so much for such amazing, amazing, amazing advice. And
Pleasure.
thank you
My
so much for
pleasure.
your time. It was a
Thank
pleasure
you.
having you here.
Thank
And
you so much.
give the regards to the family and love to the family. Please be safe and stay healthy,
You too,
is
yeah.
all we have to say.
And thank you,
And sir,
everybody.
keep
Thank
inspiring
you,
us.
everybody. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
And,
Thank you.
and sir, one request that everybody has from you is that, sir, start putting some behind the scenes up of your shoots, because people really, really want to know what really goes behind the curtains of the Buratnani studio, and they
You
would
mean in
love to
terms
see
of
that.
videos or what?
Video, photo, both. So there were so many people asking me in my community, in my fan, like, you're getting him, please ask him to put some behind the scenes. We really want to know how he does it. And
Okay.
one last question before I forget, this has been popping up. How can people actually get to intern with you or assist you if that is possible?
I mean, I don't keep too, because, like, I shoot a lot of celebrities, so I
Yeah.
don't keep too many people on the set. And, I kind of work with one or two assistants, and I hire light boys just for the day. I don't really keep too many full-time people. And I don't know if you have the same problem, but, whenever I have kept an assistant, they just want to come and hang out at the shoots. They don't want to do all the work, that is the pre-production or the post-production
Yep.
or the burning of DVDs or backups and everything like that. So I feel that ends up kind of coming to my zone only to kind of do all the work. The So I mean, for the people who want to assist, they have to realize that we are shooting 10, 15, 12, 15 days a month, but the rest of the month we are either in pre-production, post-production, filing details, accounts, I mean, other stuff that happens. You have to be a part of all that as well. You can't just imagine. So I've had many assistants who come and go because they find it very boring to sit in the studio and do the work on non-shooting days. They just want to come for the fun, and they feel that and the world has an impression that photography is such a glamorous profession that क्या करना है, shoot पे जाना है, ऐसे light करके, you have to just do this. I mean, it's not like that. So, like, there's so much back end work that happens. So whoever's assisting, like, I mean, when I was working with Sumit, I enjoyed the back end work so much, because for me, filing all the negatives, the transparency, seeing all his old photos while I used to clean his cabin and his clean his cupboards where all the negatives used to be kept. For me, like I said, I was trying to absorb so much. I was trying to learn
Yeah.
from those as well. So I used to see all this behind the scenes of those pictures and see those negatives and help in the filing and everything. So it gave me a lot of knowledge in terms of what all happened before I came onto the scene. So similarly, I feel every photographer that shouldn't expect, when you're working or assisting a photographer, that it's all glam. There is a side, the whole prep, the going to locations, going to prop shops, going to uh, connect with art directors, doing so much stuff. You kind of have to uh, assist in all genres. And saying that, I have about 12,000 applications in my inbox right now, which I have not had the time to go through. And so I feel that I will put up some BTS pictures. I will put up, and I'll probably plan some online workshop for all the
Yeah,
people who
that'd
are
be nice.
interested. So
That'll be
in
so
terms
nice.
of, I can put out the pictures out there and explain to people how it was shot and stuff like that, because I cannot show a demo shoot since we are all in lockdown right now. But I'm planning.
So, even,
I'll
sir,
let you know
even a
when I'm
story,
planning.
story behind the shot. A story behind the shot would be so amazing coming from you. Maybe doing a solo live session on your page where you talk about the shot that you did would be such an amazing experience for all of us.
Okay, great. I'll definitely give it a thought and
Thank
plan
you
it.
so much, sir. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
sir, and thank you so much for coming online. And
My
please
pleasure.
take care.
It was lovely. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank
See
you,
you, sir.
everybody.
Take
Thank
care.
you for joining
Thank you, sir.
us. All the best. Bye.
So, guys, that was the legend, Dabu Ratnani, for you. And he is such a humble and amazing person that I got to learn so much about him today. And so many tips coming our way, so many things coming our way. I hope there are some good takebacks that you've had today, and there are some good takebacks that you've taken back today from today's session. And first of all, yes, we need to respect the artist that is out there, the photographer, the artist, and learn the trade and learn the tricks, to learn the skills to be where they are right now, and of course take from their experiences. And that is what we believe in. And guys, if you have somebody you want us to talk to, just DM us or put it in the post that is running on our feed. Put it on any post. We read every single comment, we read every single DM. Guys, thank you guys for coming in today and taking your time out for this amazing session. And I hope that we keep in touch and connected through, and we will get through this time as well. And if you guys need any help or anything, just let us know. So take care, have a good night. And we have a couple of workshops that are coming up. There is a free phone filmmaking photography workshop on Wednesday. There is a business, the art of growing on Instagram business session happening tomorrow. There is a story that is running in my feed. And of course, we have a phone filmmaking workshop that is coming next week. So guys, keep in touch, keep updated, and take care of yourself, your family. Stay safe and stay healthy. Ciao.